Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have another wonderful book subscription to share with you that has been sent to me for review. And I don't know about you, it's beautiful and sunny outside, but it is about to get a little dark in here because of course we have a Down the Rabbit Hole book box to talk about. So this is actually the May box, and this one was a little bit of a palate cleanser in all honesty, because with Down the Rabbit Hole book box we do get those darker reads. So it can be anything from a mystery to a thriller to gothic to horror, and we've had a lot of horror lately, which is a little too intense for me on occasion. And one of the reasons that I don't really like to get those ones as much as sort of the classic mysteries and thrillers is because we also get gifts that go along with certain passages of the book. So as you're reading along, you'll come across a sticky note, it'll tell you to open a gift, and sometimes just because of the content of the book I'm like, please don't let that be what's actually in that little gift box. Usually it's kind of an interesting interpretation, and they are usually kind of fun or whimsical or sometimes really useful lifestyle items. This box is $49.99 per month. That does include the domestic shipping, and like I said, you do receive the title as well as usually I would say 4 to 6 different gifts to go along with. There is usually a playlist as well as a bookmark, and I do have a referral code for you to save you some money if you are interested in subscribing. It's Noel15, and that will save you 15%. As always, I'll leave that information for you in the description box below. Again, I know a lot of us are reading sort of those frivolous beach reads right now, but sometimes it is kind of nice to have that contrast. In addition to their monthly boxes, they also do some limited edition boxes. I am about 2 months behind because they usually send me the boxes a little bit later, so there's no spoilers for actual subscribers, but I'm also behind on the seasonal boxes. So I have like the spring limited edition that you should be seeing here on the channel in a couple weeks as well, but I like to try to space them out for you too, because I know sometimes these can be kind of intense unboxings just in terms of the topic. But this one, you guys, like I said, was a little bit of a palate cleanser because it was a classic. It was an Agatha Christie. It was one of the Hercule Poirot mysteries, and I have to say, until getting this book subscription sent to me for a review, I really didn't know the whole Hercule Poirot sort of world. I'd heard of him, of course. I'd seen some of the movies, but I hadn't really read very many of them, so I really enjoyed it. He is starting to grow on me. At first I just thought he was such a little egotistical brat, but I am starting to enjoy his quirkiness, I will admit. So inside of the lovely box, we usually have some shred that's kind of nestling all of the gifts inside, but I go ahead and take that out as I read through, because since I have, knock on wood, caught up on all of my book subscription boxes, I have tried to read the titles so that I get the full experience, so I can share it with you a little bit more, read the passages, and kind of understand the significance of the gifts that are included inside. So again, the title of this one was Peril at End House, and it was just a little thin paperback, like not too long at all. There were 4 gifts in this one, along with the additions of our bookmark, our little brochure that comes with it. I think there was something to drink in here as well, so let me double check on that. So yes, here is our bookmark. It says, "Evil never goes unpunished, monsieur, but the punishment is sometimes secret." So like a karma, like kind of a nod to karma. So the way that Down the Rabbit Hole book box works is there's kind of a hint, and that is the title of the box, and they don't actually tell you the title until you receive it. So you get those hints in their social media. If you're really curious, if you're worried about it overlapping with a title that you already have, or that you're maybe getting in another book subscription, although this is nice because it's not always just new releases. It's like I said, some classics and things that have been out for a while. Then you can always email them and ask for the actual title if you need that to help you make the decision to get the box. But then they also have some book discussion questions over in their social media as well once everyone has received it. So it really is kind of functioning like a nice little book club, which is kind of good. I think little support group sometimes for some of the tough topics. So this one was called An Odd Series of Unfortunate Events, and you will see why in just a second. We do have our little author bio on the interior, of course, with Miss Agatha. And then here they actually put the blurb for the book. There is like kind of a short version of it here, and that's probably the one I'll read to you. And then we have our little bio of course, the Queen of Mystery on the interior. So that's always kind of nice to learn a little bit about the author. So, and then this is kind of cool because this edition actually says lists all of the Hercule Poirot mysteries. So there's quite a few. Like, I didn't realize that there were quite that many. It looks like there's over 30 on here, but I'm sure some of you who know your Hercule, I'm sure that you know exactly how many. But let me go ahead and I will read the blurb on the back, and then we will go through together and I will read the passages that have the little sticky notes, and then we will find out, of course, what the gifts were. So if this is a box that you have waiting for you, you might not want to watch the gifts. If you know the story though, it might be kind of fun to relive it through these passages and these gifts. Or if you just want a better idea of the kinds of items that might appear in this box, this is a good unboxing to watch, because it is not super scary, tough topics this time around. I mean, just murder attempts, no big deal. One of the things that we got included this time around was some Agatha Christie tea packets in Earl Grey. So I think we got 3 of these in here, which I always think is really cute. I love the little extras that she includes in the box sometimes. All right, so on the back it says, Peril at End House. On holiday on the Cornish Riviera, Hercule Poirot is alarmed to hear pretty Nick Buckley describe her recent accidental brushes with death. First, on a treacherous Cornish hillside, the brakes on her car failed. Then, on a coastal path, a falling boulder missed her by inches. Later, an oil painting fell and almost crushed her in bed. So that's 3. It says, so when Poirot finds a bullet hole in Nick's sun hat, he decides that this girl needs his help. Can he find the would-be killer before he hits his target? That's assuming that the killer is a male, isn't it? Although a boulder, that was kind of the rationale later on in the book. They're like, who else could push a boulder over? I don't know, you just leverage, right? Hercule points that out. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. We have 4 gifts, like I said. I'll go ahead and pull them out because I think the first one is actually hidden on the bottom. It is. All right, so they're all wrapped up. So when you open up the box, you know, to dig in and find it, the nice thing is you're not going to ruin anything by opening it because everything is all wrapped up neatly. All right, let me go to our first one, which was on page 71. Let's see, 71. So this is what it looks like when you come across one of the sticky notes. Just a nice little one that says Open Gift 1. Let me see if I can recall what this is. So, So this is, you know, Hercule has his buddy who's kind of the narrator of the story. He says, we could say nothing more, for at the moment Frederica Rice drifted into the room. She was wearing a gown of Madonna blue and looked very fragile and ethereal. Lazarus soon followed her, and then Nick danced in. She was wearing a black frock, and round her was wrapped a marvelous old Chinese shawl of vivid lacquer red. Hello, people, she said. Cocktails? I love that. I love that she's like, hello, people. So, and the shawl is kind of does play a key role. So, I was thinking we would get some like chinoiserie with this because it is supposed to be a Chinese shawl, but this is gift 1. It is not very Chinese, I will say. But it is a nice lacquer red, I suppose. So it's very dark red, but I don't think I actually pulled it out of the plastic before because I was afraid. I've actually gotten a very similar scarf in another book box once. I think I got almost the exact same one, if not the exact same one, in a Once Upon a Book Club. But this one is a little bit silky. Yeah, so you could just use this. I guess this is probably more useful to most people than one that has sort of Chinese embellishments on it, because you could of course use it as a scarf or a wrap or a shawl, but you could probably also use it as a table runner. This beautiful vivid red, you could use it as a sash for your Christmas decorations, or I mean your patriotic celebrations, I suppose. So we got a red shawl, nice and silky and smooth. So there we go. And of course Nick was wearing that, and then we had, and Nick is a nickname for her. So let's see, on page 152 is our next one. Let's see if I can remember what this one is, because it is gift number 2. So sometimes they come in little neat boxes like this instead of mailer bags, depending. Let's see, what was this one all about? All right, so they are sort of trying to deduce some things, I suppose. So here's from our narrator. An important clue? I asked. He shrugged his shoulders. How can one tell? There is a hint of blackmail about it. Someone of our party that night was being pressed for money in a very unpleasant way. Of course, it is impossible that it was one of the strangers. He looked at the writing through a little magnifying glass. Does this writing look at all familiar to you, Hastings? It reminds me a little of something. Ah, I have it. That note of Mrs. Rice's. Yes, said Poirot slowly. There are resemblances. Decidedly, there are resemblances. That's my best Belgian accent, you guys, which is pretty much French, but you know, I'm trying. All right, so gift number 2 is a little magnifying glass that he can look at a little note and try to figure out what the handwriting is. Can you see? Does it work? I think it just has it might have a plastic film on it, so I think it will actually work as a magnifying. Yes, it does. I can see. It makes things much bigger. Can you see? Yes. There we go. I got the ring light. All right, guys, we have 2 more gifts to go. So let me know if you have a favorite Hercule Poirot book or movie adaptation. Please do tell me. I think Death on the Nile was like the most popular one of recent years. Let's see. I did love the cast of that movie, and I did get to see the Cataract, the actual hotel, when I was in Egypt. Let's see. Page 181 is for gift number 3. So no guessing when they're all like identical size boxes, right? Let's see. Then the other box, that came by post. Can we rule that out? No, we cannot, because mademoiselle is not sure. It is an annoyance that, he groaned. I was about to speak when he stopped me. No, not another proverb. I cannot bear it. If you would be the good friend, the good helpful friend. Yes, I said eagerly. Go out, I beg of you, and buy me some playing cards. I stared. Very well, I said coldly. I could not but suspect that he was making a deliberate excuse to get rid of me. Here, however, I misjudged him. That night when I came into the sitting room about 10 o'clock, I found Poirot carefully building card houses, and I remembered. It was an old trick of his, soothing his nerves. He smiled at me. Yes, you remember, one needs the precision. One card and another, so, in exactly the right place, and that supports the weight of the card on top, and so on, up and up. Go to bed, Hastings. Leave me here with my house of cards. I clear the mind. So Hastings, which is the buddy, which is the narrator, was like, why are you just trying to get rid of me? I'm just trying to be supportive and help you figure out who's trying to kill Nick. He's like, because I like to have something to do with my mind. And he realizes that everything must work together. All right, guys. So indeed, we got some playing cards, but not just any playing cards. These ones kind of had this fun holographic deck. Now, I will say that when I first opened this up, I was like, we have already gotten these playing cards in another Down the Rabbit Hole book box. And I was like, now, with other boxes and other kinds of boxes, sometimes I have pretty good memory recall and I can remember which one. This one, I was like, ooh, which book box was it? Which one? And then I remembered, I'm pretty sure it was from the Haunted one, and it was a really cool deck where it was just like black on black, like shiny black on matte black. So I was like, we already got this deck of cards, which, I mean, I guess like it's always good to have 2 decks that look alike because some card tricks and some games require 2 decks, but these were a little bit different. So these are the same thing where they're very, very shiny and very, very slippery. Hard to do tricks, but they have that same kind of holographic back to them, right? Mesmerizing. But instead, we have metallic numbers and suits. So you can see our red colored ones are going to be in gold. And they actually, even within the diamond, there's a little bit of extra reflector. But I just noticed, look at the hearts, you guys. Can you see in the hearts? Even the hearts have like a border. So you get all of that reflection. So what's normally our red suits are in gold, and what's normally our silver suits, what's normally our black suits are in silver, and we have the same thing with the clubs, of course. And then let's take a look at our really gorgeous, ooh, I just mixed up all my cards. Like I said, they are very, very, very slippery. Very hard to play around with, but here is what our face cards look like. So let me show you. Well, here's the Joker, and then look at the King. There's the Queen and the Jack. Very, very fun. So really cool, fun deck of cards. These I think would be impossible even for Hercule to do some card houses with because they just want to fly out of my hands right now. So, but they're very pretty. So I feel like you could play a card game with them, but probably not build those card castles. Okay, so far we got the scarf, the magnifying glass, and the playing cards. And we have one more to go. So this was on page 214, and I think the whole book, honestly, was only 226. So there was like one more chapter where we kind of get some of the explanation, because honestly, there were a lot of characters, there were kind of a lot of suspects in here, and there were kind of a lot of like side stories going on, so I did need Poirot to sort of break it down for me at the end. So I will try to read this last bit, which is not really directly related, honestly, to this final gift. It was just sort of a, you know, now that you've gotten to the end of the book, you get to open up one more gift. So it wasn't necessarily something from the page, but I'm going to try to read this passage without giving it away, just in case. And I feel like for some of you who haven't maybe like read the book in a while, if you've already read it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. But for the rest of you who want to go ahead and read it, it won't ruin it too bad for you. So let's see. Let's see. Thanks. And now I suppose we must go through with this perfectly ridiculous comedy. The comedy you planned and produced in End House. Yes, but you should not have given the star part to Hercule Poirot. That, mademoiselle, was your mistake. Your very grave mistake. So, all right. So we have gift number 4. This one in a white box. Again, not necessarily related to an object on the page there, but we have this nice candle that was custom made for Down the Rabbit Hole book box for this particular an odd series of unfortunate events book box. It is The Scent of Truth. 6-ounce candle, hand poured, and it is white tea, brown sugar, and fig. And we've got that little magnifying glass on the top, just a simple silver canister. But how fun, right? Ooh, it does have a little bit of a gold shimmer on the top. Can you guys kind of see that little bit shimmer there? Yeah, let's see what that smells like. Ooh. Ooh, okay. It's a little more fall than I would expect for like a May box. I love white tea in general, like to drink, but also like the scent. It is very popular in candles these days. But you're definitely getting the brown sugar and fig, which that just makes me think of like baking and fall, but without being too sweet, which I really appreciate. So brown sugar and fig is what's coming through for me. Not a ton of the white tea. I'm not exactly sure how those 3 scents together are the scent of truth, but apparently they are. So that was what rounded out our book box this time around. So pretty useful items. This is kind of a cute little magnifying glass that you could have next to things. I am finding that I more and more need it when I'm looking like at ingredient lists, for example, or even the directions on some cosmetic products. So we got our nice red shawl, we got our magnifying glass, our very shiny and slick playing cards, and then finally the Scent of Truth candle that they had made for the box. So you guys let me know in the comments below. Like I said, let me know your favorite Hercule Poirot story. If you have one, if you have never read one of them, I highly suggest doing it. I could see this would be a fantastic audiobook as well if you are someone who just that kind of helps you, especially if you have a narrator that's really good at different voices and keeping them all straight. There are a lot of characters, so I feel like it could be more confusing, honestly, if you listen to an audiobook, but just for the sake of having Hercule with a good Belgian accent, that might be a good way to go. But I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm hoping that we get more mysteries and thrillers and a little bit more of a break on the horror until we get into the fall months, when I'm sure she'll definitely bring it for us. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see all of you very, very soon in my next unboxing.